Hello, my name's Tyler Smith. A lot of you know me. I've got a lot of experience in the association. I've been the Senate President over at Normandale. I ran for President's Group Chair last year, and I got a chance to sit on the Governing Council, serve on the Fiscal Committee, and so I've had a lot of experience with MSCSA, and I've really learned that there's a lot of strong points. I really want to be involved in helping students more, and I think that by running for president, I can do this extremely effectively to be able to empower students. This is one of the things that I think is important. We need to build from the ground up. We need to empower student leaders on campus. And we need to start with this firm foundation before we can work with, strengthening our association. So by strengthening student leaders on campus, we can make our association stronger. I think that's the first thing we need to work on. And I believe by doing that, we can have better representation at MSCU and the legislature. And that's really where I stand. I believe we need to empower students. I'm looking forward to being able to do that as your potential future president. Thanks.
Okay, the first question is, with the time demands placed on the president, how do you plan to conduct outreach to your member campuses?
Well, there's a couple ways I kind of look at that. We have 40 campuses here right now. That means there's about 6 or 7, depending on how you look at it, campuses that aren't here. Those are the ones I would focus specifically on saying, hey, why aren't you here? What can we do to get you here? Is there a Senate on your campus? Can we make it stronger? That's the questions we need to ask them. Now, with the rest of these campuses, all we need to do is empower their leaders. We don't need to send people out to every campus because we already have people there. We've got student leaders on campus. That's you. That's the Senate presidents. That's the Senate vice presidents. Those are the people that we need to make stronger and more capable of building student leadership on campuses. That's how we should outreach. Now, in direct reference to the time restraints placed on the president, I would definitely be working with as many people as I could. I couldn't obviously work with everyone, but I would focus on those campuses that aren't involved and get them involved, and the ones that are here, strengthen better. And that's how I would look at focusing my time as working with campuses individually.
Okay, the second question is, in what direction would you like to take the association?
There's a direction we're currently headed, and it's the fight for higher education. It's really simple, it's really straightforward. We want more accessible, more affordable, higher quality higher education. And that's what I'd work towards. And that's a direction we're already going, and that's a direction I would continue. I think that we need to just advocate for students and represent them and build stronger leadership. That's the direction I would take it, those two primary standpoints. Empower student leaders on campus and advocate for them and represent them on a statewide level and empower them to represent themselves on a local level. You have to have a strong student senate on campus that's representing them to their administration. Otherwise, what do you have? If we go to the state legislature or to MSCU and say, hey, tuition should be lower, this isn't okay. And we find out that somehow there's a whole bunch of student senates that approved a 20% tuition increase because they didn't know what it was, that's a problem. We need to make sure student senates know what power they have, what voice they have on campus, and what they can say to keep administration from passing things on campus or doing things that just aren't okay.
Okay, the third question. In addition to strengths, it's important for leaders to recognize areas where they need improvement. What is one characteristic you see in yourself as an area of need for improvement, and how will you face that challenge as president?
It's an excellent question. I'm glad it wasn't the weaknesses question. One area I would see for improvement myself that I always kind of work on is there's a difference between being capable of fulfilling something and establishing something, being strong in areas, and being able to be extremely passionate and heartfelt about it. There's one thing about myself that has always a little bit annoyed me is it's hard for me to be emotional because I think so logically. I reason things out and I'm very straightforward on it. So when it comes to bringing out passion and a heartfelt experience, it's a lot more difficult for me. And I think that's something that I need to work on in comparison to a lot of the other characteristics that I have. Now, at the same time, that can be a strength because it turns out that I'm leading. I'm going to be very consistent. I'm going to be very level, very solid because I don't change up a lot. But on the other hand, as mentioned, it's harder for me to talk to someone and give this heartfelt, emotional response to a question because that's just not how I think.